All right, so welcome to today's live Ask an Herbalist. We have taken a break for a couple of weeks. I had some stuff going on, and that stuff is done. So here we are. So I'm going to be here for half an hour to answer whatever questions you have for me. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Sarah Vitsani. I usually am out at my homestead in the middle of West Desert, Utah. Today, I am taking a break. It is too hot out there. Our AC doesn't work super well. And it's a really tiny space. And I'm nearly 17 weeks pregnant. And it's time to just be a little more comfortable for at least a couple days. So I'm here at a public library in Salt Lake City. And yeah. Anyway, so normally I am a homesteader and I am a certified permaculture designer. I have a bachelor's degree in chemical engineering, and I recently got my master's in herbology from Dr. Christopher's School of Natural Healing. I do not represent them, but I will often share what I have learned through that school because it is so wonderful. It has such amazing history of use and is such a fully holistic program, which includes nutrition, diet, herbs, and other natural remedies like hydrotherapy and such things. In my own personal health journey, which has been over 10 years now, I have come across and tried a lot of different modalities. And so I can also guide people on those. I can't do them all. I did take one cranial sacral therapy course. But I don't have a license to touch. I don't do it on anybody, but I am familiar with it. I also studied with 2 different certified Alexander technique teachers, to learn mind-body techniques for freer, easier movement to either recover from injuries or prevent injuries, especially for actors, musicians, dancers, etc. But it is applicable for all of life. So that is sort of the scope of what I do, what my coaching programs encompass. And I go live here in our Facebook group. It is called Whole, Connected, and Free. You don't have to do anything special to get in, except it is private, so you do have to request membership. If you want to search for it, search Whole, Connected, Free. WHOLE, Connected, Free, and you will find it. And you just need to answer some questions so that you know what the group's about and agree to the rules and be respectful and all that. That if you don't want to join us live, you can always just stay tuned for whenever I post a video on YouTube. Because you okay? Are you okay? Oh, hi, buddy. All right, my kids are kind of watching each other right now. So as I'm waiting for people to hop on here, I want to remind everyone that I do offer private health coaching in the state of Utah and most states across the United States. As a master herbalist, I am not a medical professional. I cannot legally diagnose, prescribe, or treat disease. So I am an educator. And stay over there. We'll see how this goes. Anyway, but I do offer health coaching, and you can find that on everydayinexperiment.com. If you're watching this on YouTube, all the links will be below in the description. And I have one membership that you can buy into that gives you access to recorded videos on all kinds of herbal remedies and how to use them, when to use them. We go all the way from the basics of how do you even make tea and why would you make tea versus use a tincture? How do you make a tincture? How do you make a salve? How do you infuse an oil? I go through all of that, as well as some of my favorite or most important remedies that I think everyone should really know. And those are called my herb chats. So if you go to everydayinexperiment.com and you click on online classes, you can find that there. And then I have a few digital products as well. We have flashcards for the 100 herbs that I had to memorize as part of my master herbalist certification. So I have beautiful printable flashcards there for those 100, and it is the common name, the scientific name, the part used, and what you use it for. It's just one use, the primary use that we had to memorize in school. And then also I have I think it's 20 key survival herbs, which is a really fun one. Another thing that you can download, and you could print it if you wanted to keep it on hand. Anyway, those are the kind of the fun things that already exist. But there is more coming. So very soon, I'm going to start advertising for a program that I'm creating. It will be, we'll call it a pilot program, because it'll be the first time I ever do a program of this exact type on this exact topic, but it is one that I am very passionate about, that I've studied thoroughly, and I have experienced as a mother of almost 4 children now. Yeah, including this T-Rex, apparently. It's a little puppet. Anyway, and so this program is, I need to keep your face out of the picture here, babe. Anyway, so more will be coming on that very soon. But I'm very excited to offer coaching that again encompasses wholesome use of herbs, nutrition, and these other mind-body techniques and lifestyle tips that I have had to, these changes that I have needed to make for my own healing journey and things I have learned along the way. I am an obsessive researcher, and so I've kind of learned a lot. So that's coming up. It's going to be an awesome way to get education, but also support from me for a very important topic. All right. We still don't have anyone joining us live yet. At least as far as Facebook is showing me. So if you are here, write something in the comments so I can see that you're here. I'm going to keep playing around with timing, what works well for people, because for live Q&A, we really need some live. It's 11:11, so here we go. But yeah, I would love to have this at a time that more of you can join me live. I would also love and deeply appreciate that if you know somebody who would love the things that we talk about, and would love to learn more and have a chance to ask a master herbalist anything, please invite them to the group. It's very easy to do. There should be a little button at the top of the page or on the side of the page. I want to help as many people as I can. And I would love to have a rich dynamic discussion as well. So let's keep building that up. All right. Okay. First thing, I want to tell you about something cool. So my school does not dive into great detail on mushrooms, but during the master seminar, Dr. Christopher Hobbs does come, and you can't be in the video, sweetheart. Okay. And he teaches us for a whole day. And he is an expert mycologist. He studied with Paul Stamets, who is the expert mycologist. At any rate, so I got his book because I wanted to learn more, because mushrooms are relatively new on the scene of Western herbalism, right? If we look at Eastern traditions, they've been used for thousands and thousands and thousands of years, and probably, our Native Americans and our other indigenous peoples here in the North and South Americas, they probably used them and knew how to use them, but there's just so little that was imparted to those early herbalists about mushrooms. It just wasn't something they focused on. So this is a fun new thing to start. This is my continuing education here. And I just wanted to share some fun facts as I'm reading this book here. It's not one that I offer on my website yet. But I have recently added more books to herbalembrace.com. There's some good books in there, and many of them are very cheap. Several little booklets written by Dr. John Raymond Christopher that are excellent. All right, so just some really cool things about the benefits that mushrooms have to offer. All right, like I'm not talking about tripping. I'm not like he goes into psilocybin at some point, but like we're just talking about mushrooms, okay? Like this is a food. And so this is really cool. In terms of nutrition, mushrooms are a rich source of vitamins. They have an incredibly high mineral content. Some types have 7 to 10, 12% total minerals. Airplane. I don't know how loud that is on the so I'll wait a minute. Okay, they're a particularly good source of trace minerals such as zinc, copper, and iron, as well as the macro minerals, phosphorus and potassium. Now, again, the important thing is that these vitamins and minerals are in the mushrooms in a form that the body can take in and assimilate. It's totally different than getting a little iron fish and boiling it in water and drinking it. It's totally different than drinking out of a copper water bottle. It's totally different than taking crushed up oyster shells for calcium. When it's incorporated into something living, we call it an organic form. And that is the form that our body knows how to take in, right? Because ancient humans didn't eat crushed rocks. Okay. That's basically what the standard vitamins, even if they're then made into gummies or something, like that's pretty much what they are. They're just crushed rocks, or synthetic things. But when we get these things from food, not only do we not need the super dose that the synthetic stuff has to be taken in, but it's all used, and what isn't used is eliminated. Versus the synthetic stuff, what isn't used has to get stashed somewhere because the body doesn't know what to do with it. Okay, it can eliminate some, but there comes a point. All right, so what else does he say here? I like this one a lot. Okay, mushrooms also have significant amount of all the B complex vitamins, including B12, almost as much as meat. All right. And mushrooms are not the only source of B vitamins. There are herbs that are a source of B vitamins. There are algae that are a source of B vitamins. Nutritional yeast is a source of B vitamins. There are so many sources of B vitamins. The idea that you have to eat meat to get B complex vitamins, it does not stand up. All right. And of course, we know that B12 is crucial in us creating healthy blood cells, and it's in mushrooms. One important thing I learned was that we do need to cook the mushrooms because we need to break down the cell walls, and that makes the minerals more bioavailable. And so he suggests so that you are not just, because vitamins are more heat sensitive than minerals. All right, so we need to heat it down enough to break the cell walls, but we don't want to break it down so much that we're breaking down the minerals significantly. And so he suggests stir frying mushrooms like oyster mushrooms and shiitakes with a little water will preserve a good portion of the B vitamins. All right, so we want to cook them, but we don't want to cook them to death. All right. Fungi are also an excellent source of high quality protein. For example, some oyster mushrooms contain up to 30% protein. And the protein in mushrooms contains all 9 essential amino acids. Okay, so if any of you have seen these protein powders and collagen powders that are like, oh, it contains this many amino acids and there's no other way to get them, or or these other animal-based products are the only way to get all your amino acids. It's just not true. They just don't know. Hopefully they just don't know. And it's not something else going on. So anyway, mushrooms. All right, vitamins, minerals, B vitamins, trace minerals, protein, amino acids. Ta-da! All right, so get your mushrooms. And so here's 10 that he's got a chart of major nutrients from these 10 mushrooms. So oyster, shiitake, lion's mane, maitake, button mushroom, cloud ear, enoki. I love enoki. So I grew up in Japan, and enoki mushrooms are these guys here. If you ever go to like a hot pot or shabu shabu place, that's your enoki mushrooms. They're so yummy. Chanterelle, porcini, turkey tail. So some of these are, you know, let's see, which one of these might you have seen in a restaurant before? Like, okay, the oyster, the shiitake, button mushrooms, like everyone sees those in a, you know, normal grocery stores. I've never not seen those in a grocery store. Enoki, you pretty much need to go to an Asian market. I've heard of chanterelles. I don't think I've ever been to a fancy enough restaurant to consume a chanterelle, but I've definitely had porcini mushrooms before. That's a very popular one. It's a very popular flavor for like Italian cooking, right? Like it's a very kind of meaty tasting mushroom. And really most of these mushrooms generally give like that umami flavor. So really, mushrooms are one of those things he says we should be eating every day, some kind of mushroom. And of course, like every vegetable, like every grain, like every fruit, every mushroom is going to have a slightly different nutritional profile. And so, you know, the more variety you get in the diet, the better. But if you can only get one type of mushroom, enjoy that type of mushroom and don't feel bad about it. Super high fiber food, which makes it a really great gut friend. All right. We've talked about this before, how in healing the gut, we need to not only, well, first we actually need to heal the gut lining. And this is a protocol that I can help you with. We've got recipes, we've got schedules, and all the details you need to know, the supplements that you would need for an 18-day program. But then after the 18-day program, you have to spend at least a week really focusing on replenishing the microflora in a huge variety, diversity, and quantity to get those combinations back in your gut. Now, how do they stay in your gut? They stay in your gut with fiber. Okay, so that is why mushrooms are so beneficial. Now, some people might not need as extensive gut healing. The people that taught me, the different master herbalists and naturopaths that taught us in our school before the seminar, during the seminar, their experience is that it's extremely rare that someone does not need to heal their gut lining and rebalance candida albicans. But can you see improvement without doing a specific intense protocol and just beginning to add mushrooms to your diet, beginning to add more fiber to your diet to feed that microflora and start to build it up so that it crowds out the more pathogenic or problematic populations? Yeah, you know, before I did the candida overgrowth protocol, I had done, you know, the bone broth and the collagen, everything, and the liver, and just taking probiotics, eating tons of different kinds of fermented foods, making my own sauerkraut, all these kinds of things. And they did all help to a point, right? Even though none of those things completely healed that gut lining or completely rebalanced the candida albicans, they all helped, right? So most of the time, barring certain conditions that are quite complicated, most of the time, making some small change is still worth it. Are you going to get as rapid results of just, let's say, having shiitake mushrooms every day versus doing a few cleansing and rebuilding protocols, you probably won't have as rapid or lasting results. But if it's all you can do, do it. All right. So that's the other thing that I want to emphasize here is health is a journey. If you're here with me, it's probably because you've realized that or experienced that. And we need to do things on a timeline that works for us and at an intensity that works for us, right? If you're at death's door, you probably need to do all the things. If you want to live, right? If you have some chronic conditions and you're basically okay, but you want to get better, you get to choose what speed you go at, right? And so another thing that I really focus on with my clients is tuning into yourself, developing your relationship with God. You don't have to be Christian to work with me. But I will talk about God and I will talk about Jesus Christ. Because for me, in my beliefs, in my experience, that is where the true healing is coming from. And so when we partner with God and Jesus Christ, and we tune into our body and we say, I love this body. I'm so grateful for it. I know that my spirit is in this body and that I am having this journey because it is God's plan for me. And it's a gift. And I'm going to work together with my body and with God to follow that journey that they're giving me. Okay. Sometimes it doesn't seem fair that some of us are born with, David Christopher calls it like the Cadillac bodies versus the, I forget, maybe the Rolls Royce bodies or whatever, but I'm not a car person. So we think of it more as like, you know, the rock star Olympian body versus, you know, we think about like the old book, The Secret Garden, and the little boy who was sickly and kept in bed and kept in the dark his whole life. Like, I don't know, right? I don't know why some of us seem to have more challenges than others, at least physically, but I do believe it's all part of a plan. And sometimes it's really hard to get out of our head and our heart when we're in so much pain and we're feeling so desperate and like we've tried everything. But I can tell you from my own experience, even when you believe thoroughly, wholeheartedly that you have tried everything, you haven't. So have a piece of a homemade, healthy, humble pie. Open your heart, open your mind. What else is there? Or what is one small step? Or what is my next step? And I promise you there's something, whether it's something really drastic or something really small. All right. So for example, something really small, I just saw this cool video yesterday that if you are feeling very, very anxious, one thing that you can do is you can make a little butterfly in your chest and alternate tapping like this. And then just notice your breath and keep breathing. Don't have to do anything different with your breath, just breathe. And you can do that all day long if you need to. And you can do it over and over again if you need to. Like, who cares if you look stupid? Like, looking dumb is a low price to pay for your sanity and your functionality. That's we'll keep going over that one. Anyway, but so what this woman, she was a somatic practitioner. What she explained, and somatic is where we're using body movement to rewire the brain, essentially. I'm not a somatic expert, but that's my layman's short definition for you. And so she was explaining this is that because you're crossing, so you're on the midline and you're crossing the midline and alternating, that you are reintegrating the different sides of your brain. Now, from my own experiences and research, what this is also doing is you are putting pressure over your heart area, whether you want to call it your heart. I realize it's technically like there, but if you want to call it your heart or your heart chakra or whatever you want to call it, scientifically, they have mapped that we have these different energy centers of the body that are deeply, deeply wired with tons of neural connections, physical neural connections and energetic ones. And so when we're putting pressure right here, this is one of the fastest ways to calm down your body, no matter what's going on. And so back when I was having panic attacks and night terrors and high anxiety and high depression, I would just flip-flop between the two. All right. One of the key things I would do is just put pressure on this area and breathe. And if any of you have little children or have watched different people on the internet teaching you, tips and tricks with young children, helping them calm down, right? Often, if they're freaking out, the best thing for us to do, and sometimes it's really, really bleeping hard, is to get ourselves calm and then share our calm with them. And one of the best ways to do that is just a deep pressure hug. All right. Because again, we're activating the center. We're giving that deep pressure that is super duper, all the superlative words you can think of, comforting. All right. But then we're also sharing our heart energy and we're sending love. All right. And okay, sometimes children can be little punks, but really, really deep down, they are so innocent and they can't even help but just naturally share their heart energy with us, right? They can't help but just reflect it back at us. So let me know if you try this little tip. Our half an hour is over. And I look forward to chatting with you guys next week. Again, stay tuned for big announcements on this group coaching program coming up. It's going to be amazing and exciting and wonderful. And I will begin to tell you all about it as the details come out. All right. Take care. Again, reach out to me if you want some coaching. If you have, if you just want to find out if my coaching could be a good fit for you, feel free to send me an email. Again, information will be below in the YouTube. Send me a direct message if you're here on Facebook. Otherwise, best of luck. Try something new. Pick one small thing to help yourself be calm today, and just nourish yourself. All right. And let me know what your favorite mushroom is too. Write in the comments, what's your favorite mushroom? And what's your favorite way to prepare it, right? Because the best way to get our medicinal foods in our body, we take our capsules or our tinctures or our infused oils or whatever. We can do that. That's great. But the best way is to just incorporate it into your daily routine, the foods you're making all the time. And then you're infusing all of your own intentions and desires and healing energy into that food as you're making it. And it's wonderful. All right. So I'll see you next time. Bye.